The secret to centenarians' longevity. In the late 1950s, scientists Gennady D, Berdyshev and Boris N, Rodimov at the University of Tomsk in Siberia were trying to understand why two populations of people living in very harsh conditions had 4 times more centenarians than anywhere else in the Soviet Union. They discovered that ancient ice, high-altitude mountain snow and glacial runoff were 15 to 20% lower in deuterium than the global average. Vienna standard mean ocean water VSMOW of 155.76 ppm, parts per million, at the equator. Berdyshev and Rodimov endeavored for nearly a decade on research and studies until they had enough information to conclusively link the unusual longevity and vitality of the Yakuts and the Altaians with the consumption of glacial meltwater, which was 15 to 20% reduced in deuterium from the global average. They showed that people in these regions where drinking water was lower in deuterium had the healthiest population and most prolonged lifespans in the entire Soviet Union. The findings were first published in an agricultural journal in Omsk in 1961. In 1966, Rodimov and IV Toroptsev were allowed to publish their work in English for the benefit of researchers and scientists everywhere. They became the very first scientists to show how water depleted in deuterium has a positive biological effect. This started inquiries into the properties of deuterium-depleted water that have been ongoing for 60-plus years. Their experiments with mice observed that an increase of heavy water of just 3% in drinking water caused offspring to have a 20% lower birth weight, 3 times smaller adult size than the control group, and the inability to reproduce after the 3rd generation. In another experiment, mice consuming the opposite deuterium-depleted glacial meltwater, and the result was increased sexual activity, a larger litter that grew faster and bigger than the control group. It was clear, less deuterium in water meant healthier offspring, the addition of more deuterium in water and they became sterile. Many Soviet and Eastern European institutions repeated these experiments with different animals and plants to obtain the same results. What they discovered is profound in its simplicity: the addition of deuterium slows down cellular metabolism, and the reduction of it normalizes or speeds it up. So, could it be that the gradual decline from our peak year after year, a gradual 1% annual reduction in the primary functions of our bodies, is tied to deuterium? When we are young, we are endowed with more energy and vibrancy, we heal faster from injuries. And we can generally get away with a lot more. And this is because we have an overabundance of healthy mitochondria and ATP production is high. But, unfortunately, years of deuterium exposure, stress, radiation, chemical exposure, injury, general wear, and tear lead to mitochondrial decline. Eventually, we can only look back on the strength we once had and the youth we lost. Since 2007, when Professor Dr. Algan quietly published the missing link explanation of exactly how deuterium damages our mitochondria, hope for unlocking more of the secret to radical life extension was restored.